This might just be the most beautiful bread you will ever bake. Today I'm going to show you how to make a traditional 6-strand hala that's incredibly soft, light and fluffy with a rich golden crust and a tender pillowy crumb. I will walk you through every step from mixing and kneading to shaping, braiding and baking so you can make it successfully at home even if you have never braided a hala before. Alright, the first thing we are gonna do is activating the yeast. Here I got 120 milliliters lukewarm water and the temperature of it should be anywhere between 95 and 110 degrees Fahrenheit. To that we are gonna add 11 grams of active dry yeast and 5 grams of granulated sugar. Then give it a good whisk until the yeast is dissolved and leave this wild thing alone at room temperature to activate for about 5 to 10 minutes. Meanwhile, in a stand mixer's bowl, we are gonna add 3 cold whole eggs, 75 milliliters of light olive oil and 90 grams of honey. Then whisk all of them together until very well incorporated. Next we are gonna add our yeast, which after sitting on the counter should look foamy and bubbly just like this, which means it's alive and activated. Now let's start kneading the dough. We are gonna attach the dough hook, start the mixer on a low speed, then add 480 grams bread flour into the bowl and continue kneading it for about 1 minute until a cohesive dough is formed. Once we have a cohesive dough, we are gonna add 5 grams of fine sea salt, then increase the speed to medium and knead the dough for about 10 to 12 minutes until there is no flour stuck on the sides of the bowl and it becomes soft, smooth and looks like a tornado sticking to the base of the bowl. After 10 minutes of kneading, we are gonna stop the mixer, take a little piece out of the dough and stretch it into a thin sheet without tearing. It will almost look like a membrane and you will be able to kind of see through it. And in baking, this method is known as the window pane test, which helps us knowing that there is enough gluten development in the dough. But if the dough breaks before you can stretch it into a thin sheet, then knead it a little more until it passes the window pane test. Now, lightly grease a large bowl with some oil, pull the dough out of the stand mixer's bowl and fold it in itself like so. Then pinch the seams to close the bottom, drop it onto the work surface keeping the seam side down and then drag it toward yourself using your pinkies to form a smooth ball. Once shaped, drop it into the bowl, lightly grease the top of the dough, cover the bowl with the plastic wrap and let the dough proof for about 1.5 to 2 hours or until it's almost doubled in size. Now, the rise time will depend entirely on the temperature of your kitchen. If it's cold, the dough will take a little longer to rise, and if it's warm, it will rise more quickly. So rather than watching the clock, keep an eye on the dough and look for the target volume. Once it looks nice and puffy, it is going to be ready for the next step. For me, this took about 1 hour and 40 minutes since my kitchen was fairly warm. Now, we are gonna gently punch the dough down to release the gases and weigh the dough using a weighing scale, which will come to 900 grams. Then we are gonna shape it into a log and divide it into 6 equal size pieces, about 150 grams each. Once divided, we are gonna keep them covered with the damp cloth so they don't form any skin. Now take one piece of the dough, bring all the corners of it to the center like so, then flip the dough over so the seam side is facing down. Then cup your palms around the dough and move it in a circular motion while gently dragging it across the work surface at the same time to create tension. This will shape it into a tight smooth ball. Continue until it's nice and tight and the surface of the dough looks smooth. Then pinch the seams one last time to close the bottom, cover it with the damp cloth and repeat the same with the rest of the dough pieces. Once all the dough balls are shaped, we are going to let them rest for 15 to 20 minutes, which will give the gluten time to relax, making the dough much easier to roll and shape in the next step. After 15 to 20 minutes, we are ready to shape them into 16-inch long ropes. So we are gonna take one of the dough balls, dust it lightly with a small pinch of flour and roll it into a rough 6x6 inch rectangle. It doesn't have to be precise, even if it's slightly oval in shape, that's perfectly fine. After that, we are going to shape it into a very tight log by rolling and gently stretching back a little at the same time until we reach the other end. Then place your palm in the center of it and roll it back and forth until it's about 1 inch thick and the ends look slightly thicker than the center. Then place both hands where the rope starts to get thicker and continue rolling while stretching and tapering the ends at the same time. Then lightly dampen your palms with a little water and continue rolling the rope to seal the seams. This helps keep the rope nice and smooth, prevents it from opening up during baking, and ensures the challah keeps its beautiful shape. Once the rope is long enough, we are gonna measure it with the measuring tape just to make sure we have reached the correct length. Then keep the rope covered with the damp cloth so it doesn't dry out and form a skin, and repeat the same with the rest of the dough balls. Now, in the next step, we are gonna braid these ropes and turn them into a beautiful challah loaf. So, we are going to lay the ropes on a very lightly floured surface, then pinch the top ends together and press them with the heel of our palm so they are all firmly stuck together and look a bit like a headless octopus. Or since we are working with 6 ropes, maybe we should call it a sextopus. Now let's divide these ropes into 2 sets of 3, then spread the outermost rope from each set outward and position the inner ropes diagonally to create some space in the middle between the 2 sets. Now, to create our starting point, we are gonna cross the outer ropes from both sides over each other, then take the rope that is sitting on top and bring it into the empty space in the center between the 2 sets. We are gonna make sure that this starting point is nice and tight as it helps create a neat, well-shaped braid. Then replace the outer strand with the second rope from the left set and bring those 2 strands together and reposition them diagonally to create this space in the middle again. Now, bring the outer strand from the left into the empty space in the center and replace it with the second strand from the right. Okay, now reposition those strands diagonally to create space in the middle again. Then bring the outer strand from the right into the center and replace it with the second strand from the left. At this point, we are simply gonna keep repeating the same pattern until we reach the end of the ropes. As you get to the bottom, you will notice that there is no more rope left to continue braiding. So we are gonna gently stretch the ends a little, bring them together and pinch them firmly so they are all joined securely. Then rotate the loaf sideways, give the ends one final press and tuck them underneath the loaf, and that's it. The braiding is done. See, it wasn't nearly as difficult as it looks. I hope I was able to break it down in a way that made the process easy to follow. Now, we are gonna line a large baking sheet with parchment paper and carefully transfer the challah onto it. Then lightly grease a piece of plastic wrap that's long enough to cover the loaf and loosely cover it from all sides, and then let it rise again for about 1 to 1.5 hours or until it has increased by roughly 80% in volume. Again, the exact timing will depend entirely on the temperature of your kitchen, so keep an eye on it as it proofs. My kitchen was quite warm, so it took about 1.5 hours to reach our target volume. Once you see the dough is getting close to being fully proofed, go ahead and preheat your oven at 375 degrees Fahrenheit so it's ready to bake. Next, we are gonna quickly prepare an egg wash. So in a small container, crack 1 egg, add 20 milliliters of milk and whisk them together until well combined. Then using a pastry brush, apply the egg wash evenly over the entire surface of the challah, making sure to coat all the ropes. At this point, be extra careful and gentle while brushing because we don't want to deflate the strands or disturb the beautiful braid. Once you are done, let the challah sit uncovered for about 10 minutes. Then brush it one more time with the egg wash. This helps make sure we don't miss any spots and gives the challah a beautiful golden brown color and a wonderfully shiny finish once it comes out of the oven. After the second coat, we are going to line this baking sheet with another baking sheet of the same size like this, which will prevent the bottom crust of the challah from browning too quickly. Then place it in the middle rack of the oven and bake it for total 35 minutes. After 15 minutes, we are gonna rotate the baking sheet for even baking and continue baking for another 10 minutes. At this point, it should have a nice golden brown color And to prevent it from browning any further, we are gonna tent it loosely with an aluminum foil and continue baking for the last 10 minutes. And after total 35 minutes of baking, our beautiful iconic challah bread is finally ready. Now using a probe thermometer, I'm gonna take the temperature to make sure it's baked perfectly on the inside as well. The internal temperature should be anywhere between 195 and 210 degrees Fahrenheit, and you can see we landed right in that range. Now let's carefully transfer it to a cooling rack and let it cool off completely for about 2 hours before we cut it. Alright, now it's time to cut it open and take a look inside. Just look at that crumb. It's incredibly soft, light and fluffy with a rich golden crust and a tender pillowy interior. Not only does it look beautiful on the table, but it's also incredibly versatile. You can enjoy it fresh with a little butter, use it for sandwiches, or turn it into the most amazing French toast. However you choose to serve it, this bread is guaranteed to impress. I hope you enjoyed watching this video and learned something new, and if you did, give this video a like, share it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I will see you guys in the next video. Till then, bye bye.